Good morning, everybody. This is your boy D Mac. Um, let's talk. So today, I want to address a very big issue. It's going on in the news. Everybody's hearing about it. The president of Haiti has been assassinated in his own home. His wife was shot. Our prayers go out to his wife. Hope she pulls through okay. Um, This is coming off of a very turbulent time in Haiti right now because the people themselves have been out in the streets protesting for the resignation and the step down of Moise. His name is Juvenel Moise, and so they're making claims that he's a dictator, he's a tyrant, he's coming up on charges of corruption, which is not anything that's far out of the realm for that region. So, what are we to say in this matter right now? Like we said, the gunman came into the home. They shot him to death, and they killed. They wounded his wife. And now, fast forward to today, which is about a day later, they reported that four assailants have been killed and two have been taken into custody. So when we're dealing with a situation like this and we're talking about corruption in an area where there's a lot of corruption, there's a lot of people still reeling from the devastation of the of the big catastrophe that they recently had in Haiti. That earthquake took out like what 300,000 people, and it's still like what about 1.3 million people that were homeless, and we sent about $13 billion worth of aid to Haiti. And President Moise was over this because let's go back a little bit about President Moise, some information about him. When he came into office as president, he came in as an interim president, and they were supposed to hold an election and do the proper electoral thing and let the people choose who they want to govern them. Well, Moise didn't do that. So he didn't choose a parliament, he didn't choose a prime minister or a government at all. He just made up his own cabinet and pretty much became a dictator over Haiti. And so, given that backstory, now let's fast forward to the 13 billion in relief that was given to Haiti for the earthquake that they went through. Um, Out of that, well, we're not going to get into numbers because I don't know the specific amounts that were allocated towards what by him. But I do know that there are over 35,000 people that are still in temporary homes. They're only getting a stipend of about $800 a month, which is not sufficient for these families. And they're saying that water and electricity is absolutely scarce. So if you have $13 billion, and I'm sure that's not all the aid that has come to Haiti, but if you've been given $13 billion to take care of the people of Haiti, and you still have people in conditions of temporary housing and no air, I mean no electricity and no water, then we're starting to ask the question, where did that 13 billion go? Where did all of these funds go to? And these are questions that President Moise was going to trial to have to answer. And the people were out in the streets and they were not accepting it anymore. So there were more things that were going on that we don't know of that will come out, I'm pretty sure, as this story unfolds, because I'm going to stay on this for a while. This is something that we need to see and understand. And I'm going to show you in a few minutes exactly why United States is taking a particular close look at this. So I stated in the title that Moise and Muammar Gaddafi, what similarities did these guys have? Well, I jotted down a few things, a few background things about Muammar Gaddafi, just for people who don't know who he is. Um, I personally remember Muammar Gaddafi just out of my memory from when I was a child, when Ronald Reagan was in office, and he went and bombed Muammar Gaddafi and tried to take him out. And this isn't something that he announced to the American people or anything like that. It was a covert operation where they tried to sneak in, take him out, and be back home. But apparently, Ronald Reagan didn't succeed, and Muammar Gaddafi continued on with his what they call his radical concepts. But Muammar Gaddafi, he ruled by decree, just like Juvenel Moise. He ruled by decree at first, and then he pretty much overthrew the monarchy. Now, the monarchy back then, they were tied up into a lot of heinous stuff. So whenever Muammar Gaddafi came in and he actually was able to overthrow the monarchy, a lot of people were backing him and they were on his side, which I'm pretty sure that President Moise had a lot of people backing him as well in order for him to have the power to be able to take over that office and become the interim in the first place. So he had backing and he had the political knowledge to be in that position. But the question we're asking today is, did he abuse that power? And did he abuse that power to the point to where the people felt like they had to go in and act and take him out of that office and do what they had to do? Or was this a political hit from one of his opponents because they said that they sent in mercenaries? They're labeling the people who killed him as mercenaries. So anybody knows anything about the concept of a mercenary, that's somebody who's hired to go in and make a hit on somebody so that you won't be able to tie it back to any specific person. This is how they do these things. And Haiti, we know the climate of Haiti, and we've heard of no disrespect to the Haitian people because they're beautiful people. Um, But just like in any group, you do have that element, that hardcore element that is cutthroat. And we know the reputation of the Haitians, especially down in Florida and in all areas around the United States. So we can just imagine how many times that'll be amplified in their own country. And so now you're dealing with the Haitian people. You've been given all of this money to be able to help the people to get through this earthquake that they went through. So now that you going through that, you have a people that are angry. Somebody's going to have to pay because you have people that are starving. And what is one of the first thing they're going to do? They're going to start to turn on each other in their community. And then someone had the presence of mind to say, wait a minute, while we're out here killing each other for these little scraps and things like that, what happened to the money that was allocated to help us out? Why are we not seeing any progress being made? And why is the country still in ruins after all of this money has been given to help us? Why are we not seeing it? We are directing our anger at the wrong person, and they redirected it towards the government. Now, let's go back. The government of Haiti is who? Is Juvenel Moise by himself. Because remember, instead of doing an election like he was supposed to and having a prime minister and a parliament and all of the proper things necessary for that government structure to run, he decided to become a dictator and take everything upon himself. So now there's nobody else that he can blame for what is taking place. Everything falls on Moise. So that's where he was. He put himself in that predicament by the greed of trying to illegally take over a country and take over a nation of people. And when you act in deceit like that, it's going to come back to you in a very negative way. And I'm not trying to at all say that it's okay to commit murder. I'm not saying at all that you should try to overthrow the government. We see what happened here with that idea and that concept. And this is what I was alluding to earlier when I tried to tie Moise and Gaddafi in with each other. Now, Gaddafi, we know that he was condemned as a dictator who's like his authoritarian style just violated the rights of the Libyan people. Now, this was in about 2010, 2011 when I was deployed, when all of was going on. This was at the end of his life. And so the people took his life. They condemned him and they took his life for the simple fact that he became a dictator over the people. He was violating people's human rights. Does any of these things start to ring a bell with you? We just had an insurrection here because the people felt like that their rights were violated because of the rhetoric that was being pushed by the political parties. And so this is why America is taking such a strong interest, and they really gonna get a hold on this situation with President Moise, because they don't want that idea to get into the minds of people even more than it is now. The people took it into their hands to take out Muammar Gaddafi. It was a public thing that they did to him. It was a public thing that they did to Saddam Hussein. They hung him in front of everybody, in front of the world. They beat Muammar Gaddafi down the street like a dog in front of the world. This was televised. You can go back and probably find some clips of it. And then he was shot in the head after all of the people disgraced him. Uh, Juvenel Moise, if he's guilty of the things that he was accused of and that the people were upset and out in the streets protesting about, then is this really a sad thing or was this a necessary thing? You know, this is something that the news reports are scared to say. Are they going to really talk about the fact that Moise was backed by the United States? Um, Even though he was a dictator, and that even though he took over the office in an illegal way, and the United States never stepped in and did anything about that to correct that, you know. So what was really going on with Moise, and let's continue to watch and see what the United States does about what happened to President Moise, because we have vested interest in Haiti, absolutely 100%. We see that the Clinton Foundation spent a lot of their time in Haiti. So we're going to stay tuned. I'm going to stay on top of this situation, and I'm going to keep bringing updates because there's a lot more to this Moise thing that's going to come out. I just got that feeling. This is D Mac. If you like this, if you like this podcast, if you like me and Big J and the things that we talk about and the way that we dig into topics and things like that, just come in and give us a like, give us a share. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. And we appreciate every single one of you, every last one of my subscribers. I love you. And I appreciate you dearly for tuning in and for supporting and smashing up those likes, man. Salute to my boy Big J. And like I always say, yo, sticks and stones may break your bones, but the word can always heal you. I'm out.